Hi everyone. Wanted to give you a quick little look and tour at ReadWorks. Again, is a great site for finding reading passages to have students practice their reading comprehension. And you could use this in any subject area. I myself had used this with my science students when I was in the classroom, and you can do the same for whatever you teach. So when you get into ReadWorks, and it's real easy to log in, you sign in with your Google account and it's free. And you'll see that they've got a bunch of things that you can explore by topic. You can also take a look at scope and sequence stuff, but getting right into what you're searching for, if you use the filters and searches over here on the side, what I want to pull your attention to is the activity type. A lot of times what I was looking for is I wanted a reading passage that had questions with it that would either auto grade or maybe just a couple short answer stuff. So I'm going to go to activity type. I'm going to say full question set. I can pick grade level. And let's say I'm teaching seventh grade, but you know what? I'm going to go with sixth and seventh just to have a fuller range of what I'm looking for. I can search by topic. So you can see here science, social studies, or the arts. So let's say I'm going to expand science and I'm going to go to earth and space science. So I know that in seventh grade, we're getting ready to get into a unit about weather. So we're going to go into here, and one of the things we can find right here is this article on Is the Earth Getting Warmer? What we can see, it gives us a lexile reading. It tells us how many words it is, and it also right here, this Q set tells me there are questions that go along with it. So I can click on it. I can see the article itself. It'll also have something called a vocabulary activity that when I assign this to students, they would have to do as well. So what it'll do is it'll ask them to judge whether they know what these words mean. And it even tells them this part's not graded, and they would do this on their iPads. And then down here, it's going to have some type of different activity to do with some of the vocab words before they even get started. So here, the thick towel, blank, what we're going to say absorb. And when I drag it into there, it changes it to absorbs. Let's say I put the wrong, Antarctica has a cold, we'll say cold produce. Nope, doesn't match. Oh, climate, that does. So they can go through and they could do that vocab. And then the question set, these are going to be questions that the students would have to answer based on the article. Okay, you'll see here that I have two things. I have full and express. If I have full, it's going to be a combination of multiple choice questions and also at the end some short answer. If I do those, that means if I do this digitally, it will not autocorrect everything. The short answer stuff I would have to do on my own as a teacher, go in and give feedback. If I pick Express, now what I'm going to have is everything is multiple choice. So when the students go and submit it, it'll auto grade. And you're going to see that these questions give things about asking what's the main idea, what's the theme, what's some supporting evidence. So it's really getting into those reading skills. If I don't want to assign this to students digitally, I can even print this. So if I go into print, I can say, hey, print the reading passage. Maybe I don't want to use the vocab, but I'm going to put that in there. Comprehension questions, I'm going to do full, and I'm going to have with answer lines. So when I go ahead in there and print, it's going to generate for me my PDF. There's my article. There's the vocab. There's a little activity where they're kind of judging some stuff and doing the word changer, just won't have the auto feedback to it. And then the questions. And the questions, the multiple choice, it would just have them circle. But then when we get to the short answer stuff, they have lines there for them to go and answer. As far as how it looks on the teacher side, if you do things digitally, the way it would look is that your students would be in classes. When you create a class, you get a code that the students would have to put in the first time they join your class, and they just log in with their Google account. And you'll see that it'll auto score, but if there is a written answer part, you'd have to go in and give them feedback for it. All right. So again, a lot of different options that are in there. Here I was searching for that Earth and space. We can get into, there's a lot of other options in there, and you can see that even if I go into the arts, there is visual arts, performing arts. I can get into fiction, fiction series, text type, nonfiction, fiction, poetry. If you get into this article of the day type of stuff, those usually don't have questions that go along. A lot of times it's just asking students to reflect in a journal, but they can still be helpful. Sometimes they have them in a set where they're talking about a certain topic like migration. In fact, let's go ahead and get into one of those real quick. So, getting rid of everything, I'm going to pick article of a day sets. And let's say I'm going to pick fifth grade for these. And so you can see I can get into some different things like city art, famous landmarks in Latin America. I can click on it and it gives me, here's all of these different passages. They have 6 different passages that are on that. The passages can be read out loud for the students if they need that. But now this type of article, you'll see it doesn't have a question set that goes along with it. But that's okay. At least you're still finding stuff that are within a certain grade level and reading level for what you need. So again, that is ReadWorks. If you need help with it, or definitely worth checking out no matter what you teach, whether you use it digitally or by print, it's a great resource and it is free. Thanks for joining us. If you have any questions, just reach out and let me know. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.